That hollow ache at 2 a.m., when your eyes trace cracks in the ceiling, wondering how you ended up here. When the future you once gripped so confidently has slipped through your fingers like sand. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're standing in the sacred threshold between who you were told to be and who you actually are. Most people never talk about this, how terrifying it is when your old identity starts to crack, when the persona you've spent decades crafting suddenly feels like a costume that no longer fits. We call it being lost, like it's a mistake. But what if it's not a detour? What if it's the main road? Jung called it individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self. Not the self your parents designed, not the self society rewarded. The self that's been waiting beneath the masks all along, like a seed beneath winter snow. When everything falls apart, it's not punishment. It's initiation. Remember those ancient rites of passage? The tribe would take young adults into the wilderness, strip away their childhood names, and leave them alone with nothing but hunger and darkness. Only after this symbolic death could they return as something new. Your wilderness just looks different. It's the sleepless nights, the questions without answers, the identity that no longer serves you, crumbling like an outworn shell. If you're feeling lost right now, you're in the company of giants. Nietzsche wrote about the 3 metamorphoses of the spirit. First, the camel, carrying everyone else's expectations. Then the lion, roaring against the chains of should. And finally the child, creating with innocent joke. Why ears? Which stage haunts your mirror? The dutiful camel, back bent under burdens you never chose. The defiant lion, claws out against a life that suffocates? Or the playful child, fingers already sticky with the clay of creation? Maybe you're suspended between worlds, and that's why every breath feels like drowning and flying at once. If these words are touching something deep within you, consider subscribing. In a world that demands constant certainty, sometimes the bravest community forms around shared vulnerability. That discomfort you feel isn't meaningless. It's the friction of your soul trying to break free from outdated constraints. Ever watched how a snake sheds its skin? It rubs against rough surfaces, desperate and seemingly in pain. It looks like suffering, but it's necessary growth. The new skin is already there. The struggle is in releasing what no longer fits. We're conditioned to interpret confusion as failure. But what if confusion is the necessary darkness before dawn? Kierkegaard described anxiety as the dizziness of freedom. When infinite possibilities open before you, vertigo is the natural response. That spinning sensation doesn't mean you're falling. It means you're finally standing at the edge of your potential, eyes wide open. The ancient Greeks understood this. They built temples with underground chambers called abaton, where those in crisis would sleep on the ground, surrendering to darkness, waiting for healing visions. The shattering of the old self wasn't feared. It was recognized as the precise moment when the gods could finally speak. Our culture has no sacred spaces for metamorphosis, no ceremonial guides for the ego's necessary death. We're expected to transform without disruption, like changing clothes without ever being naked. But real transformation has never been seamless. It's messy. It's non-linear. It obeys no calendar but the soul's. Look at those rare humans whose presence alone brings comfort, the ones whose eyes hold something ancient and kind. Did any of them become wise without first being utterly lost? Their depth wasn't inherited. It was carved by questions that once seemed unanswerable, by nights exactly like yours. If something in these words has touched you, take a moment to share this with someone walking their own unmarked path. Sometimes the greatest kindness is letting another know their confusion isn't failure, it's fertilizer. There's a moment in the hero's journey that Joseph Campbell called the belly of the whale. When the protagonist is swallowed whole, when everything familiar vanishes, and before anything new has formed. You don't discover your essence in comfort. You discover it when the comfortable is stripped away, when you must answer the question, who am I when I am nothing that I thought I was? Simone de Beauvoir understood that one is not born, but rather becomes. This becoming isn't a single moment, but an ongoing shedding of borrowed plumage. That career that once defined your worth. That relationship you mistook for your identity. That belief system that no longer answers your deepest midnight questions. When these collapse, you don't lose yourself. You find what was always there beneath the scaffolding. There's a Japanese concept called kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold. The philosophy behind it is revolutionary. The breaks make the piece more beautiful, not less valuable. Your fractures, your confusion, your moments of despair. These aren't flaws to be hidden. They're the very places where your light gets in. So, if you feel lost right now, consider this. Maybe you're not lost at all. Maybe, for the first time, you're being found. The map you're seeking doesn't exist because you're not following a path. You're creating one. And creation has always required chaos before order, darkness before dawn, confusion before clarity. This isn't just poetic thinking. It's the fundamental pattern of transformation observed across cultures, across time, across every human heart brave enough to evolve. You're not lost. You're becoming.